Good evening and welcome to Dhijah's Unfiltered. Thank you so much for joining tonight. So today has really been a very busy day for me. I haven't been able to post much, but I thought I should just come live and let's discuss what has been happening today, at least to keep ourselves updated about everything that's happening. Um, So, guys, if this is your first time here, this is a space where we sit down together to discuss stories shaping Ghana, Africa, and the world. So, without the noise, without propaganda, just honest reflection. Only honest reflection. So tonight we have some very important conversations. Yeah, so we will talk about developing situations. I'll touch on situations involving our former finance minister. Yes, our former finance minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, who is reportedly seeking residency in the United States while still facing possible legal issues here in Ghana. Yes, you heard that right. He's seeking legal residency in the United States while he's still facing issues here in Ghana. So I'm sure you might be asking yourself the same questions that I'm asking myself. Yes. So we would also discuss the possible increase in fuel prices in Ghana here. I believe we all aware, and I've made videos about it, about the tensions in the southeast, the Iranian US war that is happening, and then the impact it's having on oil and all that. So we'll be discussing that briefly too. And then we would also look at some troubling case of a Ghanaian reportedly missing in Burkina Faso. I think this morning I did a brief shot on it, but I'm actually surprised a lot of vlogs are not discussing it because I believe this is a very important matter. This has to do with our border securities, and this is something we must all pay very close attention to and take serious. And not just discuss trending issues and not bother about security, because for me, I think this is top notch. So that's aside to a very interesting one. Yesterday I went on live and then I spoke briefly about intensively about DNA test, paternity fraud, and all that. And people kept asking me that I did I did a shot earlier yesterday about Lil Wayne, Kumawood actor Lil Wayne, and then his DNA brouhaha, which happened to be just a movie he was premiering and all that. So people wanted me to talk more about it. I don't know if maybe people didn't take time to listen to the whole shot or something. So I'll be touching briefly on that too. And but before we do, as we're still waiting for people to join in, I think there's something very interesting that is happening. One of the news that is topping headlines has to do with that Lumbe's issue. And as it stands now, I don't know if it's over, but there's still an ongoing launch of the Celebration of Life Club, which is very beautiful, I must say. I hope you've seen the club. Very beautiful. And it's our hope and prayer that the day goes on successfully without any issues. Yes. So guys, what do you think about this issue going on? This ongoing issue with Ebusiapenyi. What is your stance on this issue? Ebusiapenyi Tisak, which is the name he's been given now. So I don't even know if I should still call him Ebusiapenyi or Mr. Kofi Owusu, or we should just maintain Tisak. Because honestly, in my honest opinion, I'm not judging, guys. I'm not judging, and I'm equally not taking sides. But I think everything that happens is for a reason, and we all have to learn from. We all have to learn from it. And one thing I know is that the primary duty of Ibusiapenyi is to maintain peace in the family. Make sure that there's disputes disputes are solved and all those things. But when we look at the case of Ebusiampenyi Tupac, yes, after the death of Lumba, it's expected in every family there will be disagreements here, disagreements there. But for the head of the family to stick with one side against the other side, I think it doesn't really speak well. I don't know if you might think otherwise, because looking when these issues started, um, when the issue started at first, he said he wanted both women to be wives. Yes, I understand, and I understand the pain of Odobroni. I'm neither supporting Akosia Sewa nor Odobroni, but sometimes we should put but sometimes we should just speak the facts as it is, right? Because yes, legally he is married to Akosia Sewa legally, and the marriage is still binding. There wasn't any divorce. Although Brony, knowing very well that he is married to Akosia Sewa, agreed to be his concubine and has kids with him. So naturally, no one can deprive you of her of what is rightfully his. So when Lumba fell down, I mean when Lumba died, it would have been nice for Ebusiafeni to find a way to unite both women. Despite the disagreements, yes, we believe. I know it wouldn't have been easy, but that is why he's the head of the family. He has to find solution to such disputes and not get tired of one side and then rally behind another side to the extent of even sidelining his immediate family, which has to do with his elder sister, and to the extent of even burying the body without them even seeing the brother, without the older sister even seeing the body, which isn't right, because he came out severally to tell us that if they wanted to see the body and all that, they could visit the morgue. But then she made attempts and she was denied access to even seeing the body of her brother till he was buried. And after his burial, attempts were made to find out where he was buried, and Ebusiafenyi made sure that he didn't reveal it, because he said he feared they might go to exhume the body and all that. But I believe he had been very unfair to his immediate family and his first wife to Akosia Sewa, and that's what caused all these issues. Because if those things had been straightened from the start, I don't think we would have been where we are today. So that aside, an Ebusiapenyi in a family should be someone whose word should hold authority and shouldn't be doubted. Whatever he tells us, we should be able to hold this as facts and not just downplay it. Why am I saying this? We all witnessed during Lumbe's funeral when his face was veiled. People were complaining because others were like, it's not Lumbe's body that was being displayed there. And others too thought otherwise. They said, but, and if you connect the dots now, you realize that it's more or less like Ghanaians were deceived, because if Lumba was truly buried in Accra, at what point was he sent to Kumasi for the body to be displayed, and at what point was he brought back to be buried in Accra? Like, if you try connecting the dots, it means the rumors that we heard earlier that Lumba had been buried earlier was actually true. Because I remember a media personality, Ola Michael, came out saying a bird had whispered to him that Lumba had been buried on a certain day at his residence and all that. People saw them digging and then sand was brought in and all that, which means it was actually true. What Ola was saying was true. Lumba was buried earlier. And if that is the case, it means Ebusiapenyi deceived Ghanaians. We were deceived. And I don't think we deserve that as Ghanaians, because we all loved Daddy Lumba. Everyone loved him. So we shouldn't have been deceived in that manner. We at least deserve the truth. And not deceive people to go rallying around only God knows what was laid there. And when he was questioned about covering his face, what did he say? He said that Lumba wrote in his will that when he dies, his face should be covered. That was his response. That it was in his will. He left a will indicating that his face should be covered after he passed. So we all held on to it. Okay, he said he left a will. So maybe when the will is read, we would know what is happening. Only for us to find out that there was never a will. So this is another place where Ibuchapenyin lied to Ghanaians. So when he was asked again, he then switched and said, "Oh, about the will, that wasn't exactly like he didn't necessarily write a will. Meanwhile, he said he left a will and his lawyers were aware and all that." He now said he didn't necessarily leave a will, but then he told his wife and children, all his kids and all that. But the question here is, how would Lumba tell his kids all this without his wife Akosia Sewa knowing? Because any source close to Lumba could attest to the facts of how highly Lumba spoke about Akosia Sewa, how much he didn't play with Akosia Sewa. So why would he hide such an important information from her? And that aside too, it also had to do with this issue of autopsy. It was more like Bisiapenyi was concealing something. So the long and short of it, because this issue is just too lengthy, if you're going to talk about it, I don't think we'll finish talking about it. But the long and short of all this is that Ibusiapenyi hasn't Tupac hasn't been fair to, hasn't been able to man affairs as the head of the family. And then I think if he has been destooled, it's a step in the right direction. But they can equally consider if maybe things were not, I don't know, if the necessary steps were taken, if it still holds, or if anything can happen. But I hope that if this decision is overturned, he would take cue from it and then try to bring calm in the family, because as it stands now, one family with a family head and the family is divided, and I don't see efforts in trying to, I don't see the effort he's putting in place in trying to bring harmony, but instead it's more or less like he saw the death of Lumba as an opportunity for him to gain fame too, to gain fame in the media and all that. I stand to be corrected though, but honestly, that is how I felt about the whole thing. Anyway, so that is just by the way. So I think we should, I couldn't just proceed without talking about this because it's really making wave, and yes, it's dominating our headlines. So I think on this note, let's delve into our topic for today. And let's delve into our topic for today. And I think I would start with I would begin with the issue of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. I'll begin with the issue of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. But before we begin, guys, please like this stream, please. Like, subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe. Subscribe. That's your own way of helping this channel grow, so we can get full access to live stream. Because as it stands now, we only have limited access. My subscription as of now gives me limited access to live stream, so I don't have full live stream access. So please subscribe so we can reach a certain amount of subscribers to get full access to live stream, yes. And kindly remember to share the broadcast so others can join the conversation. Thank you. So on the issue of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta and then the US residency issue. So let's begin with this story because it really raises serious questions about leadership, accountability, and governance in Ghana. So our former finance minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, who served during one of the most difficult economic periods in Ghana's recent history, yes, is reportedly seeking permanent residency in the United States. During his time as finance minister, Ghana experienced rising debts, negotiations with IMF, economic hardship, public protests, and many citizens blame government's economic policies for the difficulties people faced. And frankly speaking, although during those times there were equally issues that happened, like this COVID-19 pandemic, and then other issues that contributed to all this high inflation and all those things. But many citizens blame government's economic policies for the difficulties people faced. Some critics have also raised questions about certain financial decisions made during his tenure. And if you all remember, some of these decisions had to do, I think there was closing of banks, which led to a lot of people being unemployed, a lot of unemployment because banks were closed down. And that's ranging to, I don't know if you remember the haircuts, financial haircuts, where investments, I think it was on investments and something, and which even had to affected pensioners, where for the first time in the history of our country, we had pensioners protesting. Yes. So now reports indicate that while these matters remain under scrutiny, the former minister is attempting to regularize his stay in the United States. This situation raises an important national debate. Yes. So guys, should our former leaders remain in the country to answer questions after their tenure? Because this is becoming a norm. um Once if a government is in power, and then once a new government takes over, and some leaders are required to answer important question, you realize that they elope, and then they are out of the country. So the issue would be in courts, and you never have them coming in to answer. Some will request to be trial in absentia and all that. So should our former leaders remain in the country to answer questions? Guys, let me know what you think. Please do type in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share your views in the comment section so we can interact. Or should they have the freedom to fight legal battles internationally? So, in many democracies, accountability is an important part of governance. Yes, citizens, because democracy is literally about accountability. That's why it's not dictatorship. So, citizens expect transparency from those who manage public resources. At the same time, every individual also has the rights to legal representation and due processes. So there's this saying, it's innocent until proven guilty. Yes. So at this point, no one can blame Mr. Ofori-Atta for being guilty, because he hasn't been pronounced guilty. So as it is, he's innocent. All the government of Ghana needs him to do is to come and answer some questions. So it's not like he's being accused or anything like that. So that's why it's difficult for us to understand why he's running away from accountability, or he's refusing to come and answer questions that Ghanaians have for him, or questions that Ghanaians need clarification to. So this is why the conversation around Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is not just about one man. It is about how Ghana manages public accountability and leadership responsibility. So guys, what do you think? Should he return to Ghana, or should he be granted permanent residency so he can stay in Accra, in the US? And if that happens, how is his trial going to go? What happens then? Will we really have the full will we get accountability for what for our answers, like for, I don't even know how to put it, but all that we want him to, government of Ghana and the people of Ghana are requesting for him to account for. If he's granted permanent residency, will we be able to get answers to all this? Let me know what you think, guys. So on this note, Let's move on to our next topic, which has to do with the possible fuel price increases in Ghana. And that's also a very important one. But guys, before we do so, please keep the subscriptions coming. Please, please, please. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. So, sorry for the break, guys. So, there are growing concerns that fuel prices could increase again in Ghana. Have you heard? Have heard GPRTU issue a warning. Not warning per se, but I've heard GPRTU talk about the possible price transport increase in the coming days if things if should the prices of fuel go up and all that. And when that happens, if fuel prices go up, it affects every aspect of the economy because one of the reasons being discussed globally is rising oil prices on the international market. And oil prices are influential by many factors, right? And these factors include global conflicts, which is what we're seeing now, supply disruptions, and then production decisions by oil producing countries. So recently, tensions in parts of the Middle East have created uncertainty in the global oil markets. So, and when global oil prices rise, countries that import refined petroleum products, including Ghana, often feel the impacts. So, when fuel prices increase, it does not stop at the fuel stations. It goes way beyond that because it affects transportation, it affects prices of food, it affects market goods, electricity production, the cost of running businesses. So, for example, a taxi driver will increase fares if oil prices increase. A food vendor will also increase the price of a kenke or wake. Transport operators may increase lorry fares. So, in the end, it is the ordinary citizen who feels the pressure the most. Yes, it always boils back to the ordinary citizen. The ordinary citizen is always the one who feels the pressure the most. So, on this note, how are rising fuel prices affecting your daily life, my guys? Let me know in the comment section, please. Or you can equally share your experience. Um, Now let's move on to the third topic. This topic I find very important and then very interesting, and I believe this should be something all vlogs should be talking about today. This should be something making headlines, and it has to do with the missing Ghanaian in Burkina Faso, by name Sadat. Yes. So now to this troubling regional story, okay? Because reports indicates that a Ghanaian man has been declared missing in Burkina Faso. And Burkina Faso has experienced significant security challenges in recent years, including armed conflicts and militant activities in parts of the country. And if you remember, not long ago, it was in the same Burkina Faso that our local tomato traders were attacked. Women tomato traders who went to bring tomatoes into the country too, they were attacked, and then some of the men involved, men were killed, and their car, the truck was set on fire. So this brought about some fear, and they paused going to Burkina Faso for some time, and then we saw the effect it had on our market, increasing tomato prices. There was shortage of tomatoes in the market, and the little that we had was prices skyrocketed. So that brings us back to something. It means as a country, we are not capable of producing enough tomato to even feed ourselves. How much more exports? Anyway, let's continue. So, because of this instability, travel to some areas has become extremely risky. And the disappearance of this Ghanaian citizen has raised concerns among family members and community members. Yes. So, guys, what responsibility do governments have to protect citizens traveling abroad? Because recently the Sahel region has faced rising insurgency, cross-border security threats, and instability affecting multiple countries. And this situation highlights the importance of strong diplomatic and security cooperation among West African countries. And I see the situation to be particularly distant because this is just a border town, very close to the country. And if it has gotten to an extent of Ghanaian traders, because I know this issue has been this, they've been having um this fight has been going on for a while. Traders go in there, but traders are not harmed. But to a point where our traders have with this issue that happened, though the our traders have begun their trips to Burkina Faso again, and they go and come back peacefully. But for someone being kidnapped again, it raises concern. You never know who is next, or you never know what will happen tomorrow. Maybe something worse might happen tomorrow. And I think this is something we should all be concerned about, and then raise the awareness and talk about, so we know how to stay safe, raise the awareness, and then know how to navigate this issue, because this is just a border town. So let's quickly move on to our fourth topic, and then summarize our fourth topic and then call it a day. So finally, let's talk about the entertainment story that has been dominating social media controversies and conversations. So, Ofori-Atta Kojun Council Win recently sparked a major debate about claiming during a live session that a DNA test revealed one of his children might not be biologically his. The statement shocked many fans. People reacted emotionally because paternity issues are very sensitive family matters. However, shortly after the controversy spread, his management suggested that the revelation was connected to a promotion of an upcoming movie titled DNA. Ah, Kojun cancel your win. This is anyway. So this raises an interesting question about modern publicity strategies, right? Because this issue of paternity fraud and DNA testing is something very emotional that a lot of people don't take lightly. So for you to use this as a strategy, like I mean, getting people so emotional about it only to find out it's just a strategy to promote your movie. I mean, how? Anyway, so today, social media marketing sometimes uses controversy to attract attention, but some people feel certain topics, especially those involving children or family relationships, should not be used for promotion. I think so too, and I really agree. You know, so what do you think, guys? Do you think this was a clever marketing strategy, or did it go too far? Okay, so tonight we've discussed politics, the economy, regional security, and entertainment. And we started off by touching briefly on the issue regarding the Dilumbe's family brouhaha. So each story reminds us that the world we live in is a complex and interconnected one. Leadership decisions affect the economy. Global conflicts affect fuel prices, and regional instability affects citizens. And the social media continues to reshape how stories spread. So, on this note, guys, um, if you haven't subscribed yet, guys, please do so. Please subscribe and share this live stream and let it get to a wider audience so we can grow together, guys. So on this note, I think we call it a night. Thank you so much for joining my live stream today. So if this conversation gave you something to think about, I would really appreciate you subscribing to Dhijah's Unfiltered and clicking on the bell notification icon so we can stay connected to future discussions. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. Good night.